it's important for everybody to know that a lot of the videos you guys see when it comes to social conversations, a lot of those videos that seem to create a lot of conflict, conversation, and create this narrative that seems to be for or against black men and black women. I want you guys to know that most of what you guys see are acts, right? They are people who are acting. So, one of the latest ones is the one that is talking about the young lady who is on a date, and the guy that's taking her on a date takes her to the Cheesecake Factory, and she did not want to get out the car. It kind of stops there. There's more narrative to that video, but of course, that video in itself has created a narrative. Just like the narrative with the young lady who says she was hit with a brick, her face was swollen up, and no man in the parking lot, of the establishment where she was, would not help her because she turned down a man advances and he hit her side of her head with a brick. Now these are two different stages of narratives, but there are still playwrights. And so let me chime on that. So let's talk about that. So here's the uncut truth. Black Men in Suits, Urban Nation. So yeah, this is gonna be a real simple one. I mean, it can't get no plainer than this. And y'all know me, your boy from the South. Urban Nation, Uncut Truth. I'm my host Sam J. This is no man. I gotta talk to you guys about this. This is the uncut truth, man. One thing I want us to get into absorbing and dissecting, and then when we get on the platforms and express our opinions, they may be a tad bit different. Because I see a lot of people get on platforms and their opinions come from the gut. And so so what I mean by that is there is my surface opinion, but then there's my opinion that comes from a trigger. And that's what I call the gut. There's my opinion that comes from a trigger. That trigger could be that in that moment I may have visualized a relationship I've been in, and then a scenario that is kind of relative to the conversation at hand, and then it just makes me be like, as I'm envisioning that, as it is coming towards me, boom, then it comes out of my mouth. So first and foremost, this happens way too often, way too many times, and it even happens in our private lives that we got to put in check. That's the uncut truth. We got to put this. We got to start putting that kind of bullshit in check. But let's be real here, right? So the conversation lately has been the the video of the young woman who is claiming that she's on a date with a guy, and they're going to a cheesecake factory, or shall I say, the guy pulls up to a cheesecake factory, the cheesecake shop. You get what I'm saying? Shit, because we saying factory, but it's kind of like a, those of you who have it in your city, it's, you guys know what it is. But people that don't, it's not, it's not, it's not what it may, it's not what it may seem, right? Uh, and I'm gonna leave it at that because I want to make my point very clear here. In essence, want you all to understand this is a skit. That's her man. The sister that's in there, that's her goddamn boyfriend. That's her man. Those two did a fucking skit. She went, hey look, let me tell you something. She did that fucking skit and then she went in that motherfucker and ate that ate, came out like ain't shit happened. You feel me? Hey, let's just keep it real, right? But that's her man. That's her man. But what these two people, Nimrods did, they created this fucking skit, and now people are running with it on the internet, and it's really the young people, right? But I have to do this with the podcast because there's a lot of us our age, 80s babies and above. We're just following into that. We're following into this narrative because this is not the only thing that like this. Just about 95% of the stuff that we're seeing now on all kinds of channels and all kinds of discussions stem from skits. All the debacle and all the debate that has been going on lately are stemming from skits. Young people who have who are taking advantage of the money game and who understand that if I create a skit for my YouTube channel or my Instagram channel, it gets 1,000 views, I get $100 for that view, for those 1,000 views. Now it's quite a little bit more complex than that, but you get what I'm saying. So in essence, these same people who created this skit are laying in bed right now. A lot of people online having a discussion about what they will do, what they won't do, how it ain't gonna happen in their life. You know, men and women, what I won't do, what I will do. Those same two individuals turn it over in their bed and gonna wake up tomorrow with a $75 check for the day because their video has been viewed 7,000 times. I'm just saying. We gotta stop this shit. I'm not saying we gotta stop supporting people and looking at their videos and celebrating their comedic uh, characters. Always, no doubt. But what we're beginning to realize is the same way we have supported celebrities when they do comedy on TV and film and skits for TV shows. It's no different. It's no different. So just like we weren't back then, taking it We was taking it at face value. We understood they were skits. We have to realize that the same shit that we're seeing from amateurs are skits. They're skits. You know, like I've seen videos of like these little young guys and stuff going into the mall and just call themselves splitting game to young women and getting phone numbers. Like, bro, you young men, I need you guys to understand this shit is not legit. Most of the women already know he's coming up to them and gonna say something to them because he may have approached them prior to his video. Probably a few that's kind of legit. You get what I'm saying? But keep in mind, there's no way he's getting 20 something women's numbers and not talking to none of the women's. And then there's no negative comment on his post. Now I'm gonna leave that, that's kind of out there based, according to the topic at hand, right? But I'm using that as an example to understand that a lot of the stuff that's out there that we're seeing on video are skits. And you guys have to stop taking everything so damn verbatim when you know it's not verbatim. You know they don't happen like that. And you know it don't happen like that because you've done it, you've lived, you've experienced life. You know, nonetheless, this particular one right here just kind of is very interesting, you know, because I think that we immediately begin to take sides. So, I want us to understand that this whole cheesecake narrative is a skit. That's it. It's just a skit. And there's any righteous woman would not create a scene where you take her. Any righteous woman. No matter where you take her, any righteous woman is not going to create a scene right there, regardless if she dislikes it or not. She's not going to create a scene, my brothers. Understand that. But if she was to, that's a blessing because that's an obvious sign that they're not for you, right? And there's no need to be any indifferent. There's no need to be objective. There's no need to be abrasive in your response because it's just a obvious sign that hey, they not for you, straight like that. And you just say, okay, I get it. Yeah, we not you're not for me. And you take her back where you got her from, and you go by your day. You know what I'm saying? But that's how you handle that. You don't be curt. You don't be disrespectful. You don't be unkind. You just say, okay, I got it. You know. Nonetheless, because I know us as men, most of us will, try to soothe the moment. But let's just say, from a long shot, that you do experience this. Your initial response to that could be, I wouldn't suggest your response to be exactly what his response was. I would suggest your response to initially be, okay, 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 this is a place I had in mind. Okay, I kind of get it. But then you give another, but then you just get back in the car, and then you go to another spot. You kind of in your mind, like you don't give her the option to say where she want to go, right? You just you get in your car, and then you go to the next other possible spot that you think, especially because first and foremost, cheesecake, it's not like it's cheapo. It's not. So I'm sure there's thousands of other places you can go in that city or where you are. For if you're taking her there, if the initial dynamics is that it's a budget that you're doing that, right? I'm sure you can come off with something else immediately, or by the time you walk around your car and get into your car, you can look at something on your phone and say, okay, what's the next other uh date spot idea, brunch idea, et cetera, and you take that person there. You know. Now, what I would suggest in that moment, in general, is that if guys want to avoid that altogether, it pays to be very considerate of your city, your environment, and what you like as well, right? It pays a lot to have that in order for yourself. Places that you like to go, places that you would like to see, and have a list of those places in your mind. Not off the fly, but just places in your mind, just where if you want to go here, you'll go here. If you don't want to go there, you'll go there, Because when it does involve you inviting somebody else into your day, your environment, whatever the case may be, whether it's a date or not, you are now inviting them to be in or go to a place that you have an idealism of. So yeah, so you now have to be flexible, just in case you know you have a situation like that, which I doubt. That's very slim to none. Most women, and I mean when I say most, I mean 99% of women are not gonna act like that. So that 1%, that was a skit. That was a skit to raise awareness and conversation, and it did that, but it did more than that. And that's the negative side to it. Is that most people are not looking at it as a skit. That's the sad part to it. Is that most people are not seeing it as a skit. But the reason for that is for the platforms that it was presented on, you know. Uh, but yeah, do not let this be a deterrent to how you live your life, how you operate. We have to stop letting things that we see on social media, especially, be an author into our entire idealism. Meaning that you can see a good restaurant on TV from Restaurant Wars and be like, yo, I want to visit there one day. But then that cannot be a number one date idea for you if you date a person that doesn't like whatever type of food that restaurant serves. You get what I'm saying? So you have to do your work always and stay due diligence in every core, every ring in every core of your life. Nurture it all, and not leave any stone unturned, and just be like, well, person just have to go with my flow. No, no, they don't. You know, and that's what creates a lot of disconnect that I think we have today. Is that we think everyone is supposed to just go without flow, and that's a no. But yeah, that's a skit, guys. Y'all know it's a skit. If you don't know it, you know now. And be frosty out here, man. Hey, Do right by your people. Do right by the person you love. Do right by 'em. Now I promise you, the blessing that you desire, that you deserve, you will be rewarded with it. 100%.